What's up, everybody? This is Jed Johnson. You know, they call me Napalm. Sad today because my game of watermelon just ended. And it's bullshit because I combined two fruits and another fruit popped up and hit the line, and for some reason, even though I had plenty of room elsewhere and the other fruits were rolling down the hill to combine even yet more fruits, it somehow killed my game. It was my first game over 1 million points. I had 1,022,853 points, which I'm sure is probably at least top 5. But I can no longer go and check the records list. So I guess actually the score was 1,022,906. It's been about 3 months playing that game, I would say, and it's over. Prior to that, my high score was 888,000 and some, and I was the number 1 leader for quite a bit of time. I stopped playing, and when I went back on the rankings one day, I was like 3rd, so I was like, okay, I gotta try to get 1 million points, blah, 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 blah. It's bullshit. I combine fruits on this all the time. They cross the line, and it never ends my game. Why it decided to end my game this time is beyond me, but it pisses me off. Something that is beyond someone else is, why would anybody buy expensive thick bar grip equipment instead of just using fat grips? Well, there's a few reasons that I came up with why someone would spend $25, $50, $100, $200, $500 on a thick bar piece of equipment rather than just using $40 fat grips. The question that I have that I think is even more important, though, is why people will buy every piece of equipment under the sun, but they won't buy instructional or informational equipment to help them get the most out of it. You see, if you go to the description box, you'll be directed to a link to my online store where I sell all my info products. And it never ceases to amaze me that people will buy every new item that comes out in the market, but then ask how to best get their use out of it, maximize their gains and their increases in grip strength, but they won't buy a product from somebody that's been doing this shit for 22 years. So let's go ahead and address this. Why is someone going to opt to buy, let's say, a $250 axle when they could just slap fat grips on a barbell? Well, first off, some people just like to collect equipment. I'm not really into collecting equipment. I have a collection, but I don't just buy stuff so that I can say I have it. I usually buy stuff because it's going to be in a grip contest that I'm going to compete in. Other stuff I've received in order to do reviews on, and I am not good about doing reviews, so I try not to have stuff sent here. But some people like to have everything that comes out, so that's one reason. And they probably have fat grips and an axle. Another reason why someone would spend the extra money and pay for thick bar equipment such as an axle or an inch dumbbell or something like that is so that they can take advantage of specificity of training. To perform as well as you can on any given grip sport event, you really need to get either that piece of grip sport equipment or a suitable replica. When you do this, you get experience on the handle and you understand what your maximum lifts are, and you really get to improve your performance by honing your technique. And when all of these things are optimized, it optimizes your performance, especially if you get the ebook or workout that I've designed related to that piece of equipment. And if you go to the description box, you'll be able to check out thedieselcrew.com store/shop where I sell all my products. So that is probably the most common reason why someone would buy this equipment rather than just going with fat grips on a barbell or loadable dumbbell handle. Another thing that I came up with was, 1 million plus points. 1 million plus. Another reason I came up for people to buy the specialized thick bar equipment rather than just using a barbell and fat grips is barbells vary in size. And that means one person can have a barbell that's maybe 1 inch in diameter. Another person can have a barbell that might be 1.25 inches in diameter. And when you slap fat grips on there, that means the size of the surface you're gripping is going to be larger on one barbell and smaller on the other. And that means that the lifts performed on the larger barbell are going to be more difficult than on the smaller circumference fat grips adaptation. So when you see competitions taking place all over the country and all over the world, and it's fat grips on various barbells, then you can rest assured that those barbells are not all the same size, and some people are being challenged more than others. So that's a reason not to use fat grips on a barbell, because maybe your barbell is smaller or larger than the next person. At least when you buy an axle, you know that it's pretty much exactly 2 inches. Unless you buy from other companies, which those axles will be cheaper, but they're also going to be smaller because the Iron Mine axle, to my knowledge, is somewhat machined to be exactly 2 inches, and the other ones are only 1.9. So those 1.9 lifts are going to produce bigger numbers than the 2 inch. Yes, 0.1 inches does matter that much. That's what she said. Another reason why someone would want to work with specialized, expensive grip equipment is they're made out of steel, iron, metal. And these materials don't give under your grip strength. I don't care how strong you are, they're not going to dent, they're not going to misshapen. But fat grips will. So you snap the fat grips onto the barbell, and there's going to be a little give, there's going to be a little sway, there's going to be a little variance going on there. They might rotate on you. And that might cause the bar to drop out of your hands and might cause an injury. So fat grips really might not be the best option. 1 million plus. You have to remember that grip strength is angle specific. So with all the joints in your hands and your thumbs, the angles that you're training your hands at will be strengthened. And if you vary from that angle, there's only limited carryover. So specificity is key in grip strength. So if you're training for the inch dumbbell and you have an inch dumbbell, your training is going to be better than someone who's slapping a fat grips onto a loadable handle. Because maybe that grip is only going to be 2.25 inches and the inch dumbbell is 2 3/8. And that means your numbers are going to be inflated on the fat grips handle. In fact, just had a guy buy a program from me. He wants to lift the inch. He has the inch, but he doesn't have a loadable handle that's either 2 3/8 or 2.5 inches thick. He has a plate loadable dumbbell that he slaps a fat grips on, which is better than nothing. But he also has a homemade thick handled device, which I believe is 2 3/8 thick. And he sent me the measurements, or excuse me, he sent me a picture of that implement. And I don't know the measurements exactly, but I think it is 2 3/8. And I would much rather have someone training for the inch dumbbell on a steel handle, because the best way to train for the inch is with the inch. The next best way is with a plate loadable dumbbell that's 2 3/8 inches thick to 2.5 inches thick. And that's better than a fat grips on a plate loadable dumbbell. So, as we mourn the loss of my 1 million point plus watermelon game, we have already found at least 5 or 6 reasons why someone would go and buy specialized grip equipment that's much more expensive than just the fat grips handles. Now, of course, you're limited on what you can do with that equipment. If you have an axle, you can do deadlifts, you can do holds, you can do rows, you can do cleans, you can do hangs, all this stuff. Darn, that's only 4 or 5 things. And with fat grips, you can slap them on any dumbbell, any barbell, any pull down bar, you name it, you can slap it on there. So they're probably a little bit more versatile, and they're much cheaper. But they've also got the text printed on them. They've got texture printed on them. You don't have that on most of the more expensive steel implements that are out there. So it's going to give you a better grip. So that's another reason not to use fat grips. So there's 6 or 7 reasons. So now I'm going to go drown my sorrows in Yingling Lager. I'm going to go ingest about 10,000 calories, put on 5 pounds of fat, and look at myself in the mirror and say, time to start another game of watermelon, brother. Yeah! Give the video one of these. Be sure to subscribe. Leave your comments below. And check out the description box where you can find all kinds of ways to support the channel, including the Diesel Crew store. All the best for your training, everybody. Take care.